folks, welcome back to Board Game Blender episode 13. Today we are talking imports. Imported games. Now, a lot of the games that we play, both here in the States and overseas, are technically imported. They are imported from somewhere else. Even American designed games are technically imported from wherever they were made. Probably China, maybe Germany, maybe a place like that. And so that renders the category considerably broad. That's not really what I mean. I mean games that you still have to import because they haven't been released in English, they haven't had wide distribution, whatever the case may be. So games you still need to import is the idea. And we're going to be talking about a lot of different topics today when it comes to imports. We'll talk about games themselves, and we'll talk about different discussions that have to do with imports and importing games and translating games, all sorts of stuff, all right? Before I forget, let me mention again, I am running, the Dice Tower Network as a whole is running a contest this month, and you're still eligible if you are watching this in August 2015. And the way you enter that contest, which could get you $50 in credit to Cool Stuff Inc., is to email me. You email me at zeedicetower@gmail.com. I want to put it right there. And email me, give me the subject, contest, and tell me what your favorite segment has been in Blender. It doesn't matter if it was something you've seen and we haven't done in a while, if it's something you are just seeing now for the first time and it's only showed up in this episode or the last episode, whatever. I don't necessarily mean the segment in one specific episode, just, you know, a segment, the whole segment that you've seen and you've thought, hey, I like that one best. Keep it to one, preferably. Just tell me your one favorite segment, okay? And the heading contest, just so I can find it easier. I did not say that last time I mentioned the contest, but it really doesn't matter that much. I can tell which ones are for the contest. I'm just doing it to make my life just a hair easier, but it's not a big deal. But that's what you got to do. And then I'll randomly pick a winner at the end of the month. They're going to get $50, like I said, to Cool Stuff. And from all the winners from all the different outlets of the network, Mr. Tom Vassell himself is going to take all those winners and then pick a grand prize winner. And they are not going to get $50. They're going to get $500 in store credit to Cool Stuff Inc., okay? And so that's it. If you've already entered, please don't enter again. It's just once per person. If you have not done so, however, get going. Send me that email, and I will enter you, and hey, you might win. So that's all the business we got to take care of. Let's get to some fun now. Here we go. Imports.
Guys, Tiff here, and this week we're talking about something very near and dear to my heart, and that's imported games. It must be the hipster in me that draws my eye to overseas gems, but I just love hunting down hard to find and unique items. But it's part of the hobby I don't often share with my board game club kids. Ideally, my goal there is to find games that, if they get excited about it and go home, they can actually purchase their very own copy. But I did break down and play 2 imported games with my kids this week, and here they are. Give Gas is a simultaneous action selection game with a racing theme. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes and can accommodate up to 6 players. This one is all German, including the rulebook and the text on the cards, so some translation work is needed. There are English rules on BGG, and the graphic design helps make the game easy to explain. Players start out with a set of speed cards in their color and a card to track their damage throughout the race. Each car has 18 points to start with. After that, you build a racetrack consisting of 4 cards, and then players begin to drive. All you have to do is look at the section of track that you're on, and pick a speed that will win you some points. Each track card has a different requirement. For example, full gas means full throttle. In this case, the fastest driver will crash and take 3 points of damage. In this one, bremsen, or brakes, the slowest player will gain 7 victory points. Also, any players going the same speed will take 1 point of damage. All of the players have the same speed cards to choose from, so bluffing and table talk come in handy when trying to pick the best card to reveal. There are also 3 special cards. Boxenstopp allows you to take a pit stop, keeping you safe from fender benders and allowing you to get some of the cards you've already played back into your hand. Tempo halten allows you to maintain the same speed that you chose on the last turn. Probably the most exciting card is the speed die. This card has you rolling a die to determine your speed. It's pretty risky, but completely worth it when you have no low cards but need a slow speed to win. Once one's car has been completely wrecked by taking the full 18 points of damage, the rest of the players total their victory points and the highest total wins. I love it because it's simple, chaotic, and a blast to play. Glastonbury is another fun import that plays under 30 minutes. It's really a reimagining of the German game Kupferkessel, both themed around witches collecting ingredients for their magic potions. You start by building a 5x5 grid of ingredient cards. The illustrations are great and feature all kinds of awesome gross stuff, all the way from jack-o'-lanterns to jars full of eyeballs. Each player takes one of the witch pawns and places it on one corner of the board. Everyone then takes turns moving around the perimeter, collecting one ingredient from the row or column that they land on. The distance you can move is based on the top ingredient card in your cauldron, so when you take a new ingredient, the number on it will determine how far you can move on the next turn. Your ultimate goal is to collect sets of matching ingredients. Sets of 3 or more will earn you points, and if you collect a set in your player color, the points are doubled. Make sure you get at least sets of 2 because single ingredients are worth negative points, and those negative points will be doubled if they're in your color. There are also some spell cards that allow you to break some of the rules. One lets you look through your cauldron, another lets you take a card if you land on a corner, and there are more. These cards are optional but add a fun twist for replayability. The game ends when the draw pile is empty and one of the rows on the board is completely cleared out. Players tally up their scores and the highest total wins. Gibgas and Glastonbury are both fun and accessible for teenagers, but probably a little cost prohibitive because of international shipping. If they have piqued your interest, I would recommend starting your quest at amazon.de. Happy hunting, and I'll see you back next time.
Hi, and welcome to the Bargain Bin. Benny here, alongside me is Kirsten.
Hey!
And today we're talking imports.
Benny and I don't have a whole lot of games in our collection that would be considered imports, so we had to do a little bit of research for this episode of The Blend. The first thing that we realized in our research is that not a whole lot of games that are considered imports fit the $20 and under price range that we typically feature on The Blend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the first thing that stuck out to me was just like the general demand of a game, just like basic economics, right? We were looking at games that we wanted to feature, and some of them were popular, but because they were popular and the availability is small in the American market, we saw a lot of games that were above the MSRP value, and so that knocked them out of the bargain bin budget range. Did you notice anything else?
Yeah, the other thing I really noticed was shipping costs, the cost to get them into the United States. Because we did find some games that were in the $15 or $20 range, but by the time you added the shipping cost to them, it would double or even more the price of the game. So we finally came to the conclusion that import games are not very budget friendly.
No, not at all. But I think there is an alternative out there, and so what did we find, Kirsten?
Yeah, the alternative that we found is if you can find a game company that is based in another country but has a US division, a lot of times this will be much more budget friendly and help you get imported games. It will make the games more readily available and will help get rid of some of the shipping cost. And one company that we found that is pretty well known in the gaming industry is Haba.
Yeah, Haba is a German-based publishing company or game company, but they have Haba USA, which is their USA division. And so we were kind of drawn to these games because here on the box it says ages 4 to 99. And I think that's really appropriate. You might look at the box and the cute little animals and stuff like that and think it's just a kid's game or a family game. But we think Haba games have a great appeal to any gamer's collection. One reason we think that is because they appeal to casual gamers or non-gamers. Just a week or two ago, we had some people over who didn't play games, and we played Good Cop, Bad Cop, and we thought that was going to go over really well, and they did enjoy it, but the first question they had after was, do you have any games that have less rules? I'm thinking Good Cop, Bad Cop. Man, it doesn't get much simpler than that. Right. But that's when these games really shine in your collection. A game like Haba is just a simple or rather Animal Upon Animal, is a simple dexterity game where you start with a certain number of animals and then the object is to stack them on the alligator, the main piece here. But every time you knock the stack down, you have to take some animals back. The first player to get rid of all their animals wins the game. And it just has a really fun, casual feel to it. So whenever you're looking for a light game, sometimes we play before we go to bed, or with casual friends when you're coming, just want to have a good time when they come over, this is a great game to pull out. And that's Animal Upon Animal, and it's by Hobbit Games, and it's how we get our import fix. So thanks for tuning in to this week's Blender, and we hope to see you again.
Hi there, I'm John from John Gets Games, and today I'm going to talk about the pro, neutral, and con for using print-on-demand services to get translated versions of cards into board games that were printed in a language that you can't read. So the pro for this is pretty obvious. Before, you had this game that you were super excited about, the theme and the art and the mechanics, and you couldn't play it because there was Japanese or German or Polish all over those cards. Well, now you get to play it, and that is an amazing feeling. Not only are you getting to play this gaming experience that you just did not have as an option before, but it has this extra cool factor of you went out of your way to make sure that you and your friends could play this game by getting those cards and putting in a little bit of extra work. And now for the neutral, which has to do with the ethical problems that can pop up if you don't do this correctly. I have a confession to make. A couple years ago, I really wanted to play the game Uruk, but it was never printed in English. So I found this place in China that could send you the entire game, since it was only cards, printed to you in English, and I did that. And I realized I didn't really know the component count, and so I posted on Board Game Geek about, how many of this disc do you need? And some people got very angry at me because they realized that I had never purchased the original version of the game. And I didn't understand that anger at first. It seemed silly. Why should I buy that when everything in that box is not necessary to me? It's all in German, or it's easy bits that I could just add in. I would just be buying a box to hold these translated cards from China, and that seems silly to spend like $35 on that. But what I realized pretty quickly, actually, was that no, I was wrong. You really do need to buy that version of the game from an ethical standpoint, because the designer and the publisher and the distributor and everyone who made that game happen is not getting anything by me giving money to these people over here. So ultimately, what you need to do from an ethical standpoint is buy both versions of the game. And you might have this huge stack of cards, you might get rid of almost everything in that box, but you can sleep a lot better at night, and you can also look at your board gaming collection on your wall and see it there, and its cool name, it's in German, and just be proud of the fact that you are supporting the designers at the same time as being able to play this super cool game that you were not able to play before. And now for the con. Simply put, you might spend up to twice as much money getting this game ethically into your collection as you would have if you happened to speak the language that it was originally printed in. And you just need to think about it on a case-by-case basis. Is this $40 game getting me $70 worth of enjoyment when it's sitting out there on the table or when it's hanging out on your shelf? And so overall, I would say that for me, it's been a very fulfilling experience. I've really enjoyed getting these games together, putting them on my shelf, and providing for myself and for all my friends interesting gaming experiences on the table that were not originally available to us.
We know your time is valuable, and that's why we're introducing exactly 10-second reviews. And if you don't like it, it was Zee's idea. Today, we've reviewed the game 10 seconds goes by a lot faster than I thought it would.
Hi everyone! If you've seen my other segments, you may have picked up on the fact that I love games from Asia. I love the aesthetics, I love the compactness and efficiency of components, and the cleverness of so many games from that region. When Zee told me that this week's topic was going to be about imports, I was so excited! And then he told me I couldn't hog all of Asia to myself. So this week I decided to highlight one of my favorite game designers from Asia, Aza Games. Operating out of Taiwan, Aza Chen is a one-man shop that does all of the game design, art design, and production for his games. And he designs these really adorable and accessible games that have just enough zing to make them perfect for a gamer to keep on hand to enjoy with gamers and non-gamers alike. Doggy Go is a speed game in which each player gets their own set of doggy hexes that they race to configure to match to a goal card. Making sure all of your hexes are placed correctly, including the way that they overlap and the orientation, is tougher than you think. The dimensionality of the hexes make this pretty challenging, which also up-levels the game, making it entertaining for more experienced gamers. There's a Doggy Go Plus expansion, which adds complexity, and a Doggy Go Junior version, which makes the game friendlier for kids or slow and inept gamers like myself. I thought Doggy Go had peaked the cute factor, but this year Azza released its sibling game, Kitty Paw. This game plays very similarly to Doggy Go, with the added mechanism of having to find a cat-in-the-box card to add to your configuration. I really hope Azza releases a card expansion that combines both sets, but I may pass out from so much adorable. Cat Tower was the first Azza game I saw, and I had to have it. If you love Rhino Hero or Animal Upon Animal, you should check out this great, silly, fun game in which you stack cat cards as players vie to rid their hand of cards. The mechanics are simple enough for a child, but entertaining enough for an adult. Sure, this isn't Caverna or Kanban, but this eye-catching dexterity game makes for a great filler. In Catbox, the goal is to have the most of your type of cat showing after all the cards have been played. Your cat type is assigned secretly at the beginning, and the twist is that these cards are two-sided. So when you play, you can put one of your cards with the secret face up, or you can take one of your opponent's cards and play the public side up. This clever mechanism really elevates the game and adds some depth and keeps it highly interactive. If you follow Azza on Twitter, he shares a bunch of photos of his creative process that I find fascinating. The amount of detail that goes into everything from the gameplay to the box design is impressive, and his openness really helps us see how much care and craft goes into making these games. The fact that they're off-the-hook cute sure doesn't hurt either. Unfortunately, Azza games can actually be hard to get outside of Asia, but thankfully there are a few websites you can order his games from. And in better news, Pandasaurus recently announced that they picked up Cat Tower for distribution, which will make it easier to get. If you're interested in learning more about Azza games or other games from Asia, I encourage you to look at posts on BoardGameGeek.com about Tokyo Game Market. There is a treasure trove of gaming goodness there. See you next time!
Hey friends of the Blend, welcome back to another week of Board Game Blender. Can't believe we're at 13 already. So when I found out that we were going to be talking about games of great import this week, I was really excited. I mean, I think without a doubt one of the best and most important games of all time.
Yo,
Whoa.
Baker.
Who's that?
Baker, it's Mark.
Oh, Mark from Board Game Corner.
I think you're a bit confused about this week's theme.
No, I heard Zee at the beginning of the episode. He definitely said games of great import.
No. We were talking about games that have been imported, from other countries.
Oh. Like Puerto Rico?
No. Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States, and its residents are U.S. citizens.
No, I'm not talking. That's not what I was talking about. I meant the board game Puerto Rico. That was.
Come on, get it together, man.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Mark. Imported games, like from a different country. I don't know if I have any of those. I mean, viticulture takes place in Italy, so maybe I can do that. Pandemic's always that's always a good one with Z.
No worries, Baker. I've got you covered on this one.
Oh, Georgie from the Beards and Board Games YouTube channel. How you doing? What are you doing here?
I anticipated your Romero-centric views would result in you not having anything available for this episode, and I thought, so I come bearing a gift from Bonnie, Scotland.
Wow, that's awesome.
No worries,
Thanks,
man.
Georgie.
Catch you later.
Yeah, see you later. I wonder what this is. Oh, Potato Man. This one comes from Germany. Fantastic. I'm pretty sure that counts as an import. In Potato Man, you have 4 different suits: red, blue, green, and yellow. And each of these suits has a certain set of numbers. Red has the numbers 5 through 18. Blue, 4 through 16. Green, 3 through 14. And yellow, 1 through 13. And the reason this is important is because the highest number will always win the trick. And there are 2 special cards in the deck. Red has Evil Potato Man, and yellow has Potato Man. Evil Potato Man's always going to win because there's no cards in any of these decks higher than what he has to offer. However, Potato Man, 1, 2, or 3 will only ever win if Evil Potato Man is on the board. He always beats Evil Potato Man and nothing else. And the first player, whoever that might be, will start by playing a card. Okay, now that next player can play any card except for a blue. Maybe they don't have anything that can beat that 10, so they play a 7 to go underneath and not waste a better card. Then, now the next player can play anything except blue or yellow. So they play a 13. Well, now they're winning, obviously, because they're beating the 10. And the last player, the only card they have left to play is a green. And they play a 13. Ties are always won by whoever played the tie last. And then instead of taking this trick and keeping it with you, that player will actually take a green point card. 3 bags means they got 3 points. What's this up here? Well, let's say we've got to a point where there's no more green on the board and somebody wins with a green again. They get this special reward up here worth 5. So that's Potato Man. It's a really fun game for 4 players and has variations for 2, 3, and 5. Check it out sometime, and if you're bored online, bored offline.
For today's Quirky Game, I want to highlight one made by Oink Games, a Japanese company that lately has been getting a lot of buzz because a lot of their games are now being carried by the Board Game Geek store. And this one is Mask Men. This is not one of the ones they have on there so far anyway. But this is a really quirky game because it's basically a ladder climbing game in which the suits are not ranked. And so the theme is about luchadors fighting, figuring out who is the best luchador. But luchador cards look like this. As in, they're that color. It's a blue card. But they have no rank. It's not a 5. It's not a 7. There are no numbers on these cards. In fact, there's no numbers on any of the cards. As you can see here, these are all the suits. You saw about all of them there. And the way the game plays is you rank the suits as you play. Just like most ladder climbing games, you're trying to empty your hand of cards. You're going to be dealt some cards. And then in a very tricky system, which really I wish it was a little bit more streamlined, but it lends the game its quirkiness. You are going to be playing some cards. People will play, so say I play one of these, the next player might play 2 of these, and having had that happen denotes that this gentleman here, Mustard Menace, is stronger than the pink disaster here. And the way you do that is you have orange and pink, and you put these little cardboard masks together to denote, hey, you know, orange stronger. Well, yeah, orange stronger than pink. And you do that with all of them. So as you play the game, these little faces get ranked, and from that point on, if I play pink, 1 pink, then you can play 1 orange and beat me and climb, right? And so the game is just really unique. I had not encountered a ladder climbing game in which you built the ranks as you played. The game is not like games such as the Great Dalmoody, where the 1 is the 1 and the 10 is the 10, and that's set. It's not like Gang of 4, where again, the numbers are set, and then in that one there's 3 color ranks, but still, you know, red is always better than yellow, better than green. I think that's what it is anyway. In this one, nothing's better than anything at the beginning. You just don't know what's better. And as you play, you rank them. It's a little bit of a, I mean, it kind of takes some rewiring to play it. The game is interesting. I'm not going to say spectacular, but it's fun and it is interesting and definitely quirky. So, if you're the kind of person who always likes finding some strange little card game out there, and you want to check this one out, then I recommend it. Mask Men, definitely quirky.
Hello folks, welcome to Corner Chat, and
Designer Spotlight.
That's right. Today we're here with Ignacy Trzewiczek.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Today we're talking about imports.
Yeah. So you started to bring over your own games. Ignacy's with Portal Games, and you bring over all your own games. So what has the process been like to import your games over here to America?
Yeah. So this is not a piece of cake. It took us a couple of years to build the distribution because it's the most important thing. So one thing. At the beginning, we were just coming for conventions to sell the games at the convention and making networking, meeting people. Now we have a very strong partner, our sales agent PSI, who helps us. At the beginning, in the previous years, we were working with every distributor separately, which is a huge work because, for example, distributor needs like 300 copies of Neuroshima Hex and 200 copies of Imperial Settlers, yes?
Right.
You cannot ship a small amount of games because the shipping is very expensive. You have to send a whole container of games, the whole container, 5,000 copies, but they don't need 5,000 copies, yes? So it's a lot of mess, yes? So that's why for the whole last year, as you guys know, and our viewers know that Imperial Settlers was like in stock, out of stock, in stock, out of stock. Yeah, because there was this problem. This is a problem of providing the stuff if we produce it in Europe or in China, and then shipping and customs, and it's sold. So so this is a big problem. So for many companies from Europe to have distribution in States is like a main task for the next months and years. Yes, we finally managed to have it established since now our games are available. But it was like almost 2 years of me being on that process, trying to figure out how it works, how to make it efficient, and finally we are set up, yes.
Great. So what are some of the biggest challenges with doing that then?
Yeah, so of course, having games in stock.
Right.
Like we made Imperial Settlers last year. I was confident that the game is good, but I was not prepared for the sales. I mean, I know that America is a big country, but I didn't know that you guys may purchase that many games. Yeah, so we released the game at Gen Con. We sent shipment of the games for Gen Con, so the game is available after Gen Con immediately. And during the Gen Con, my distributor ACD said, Ignacy, we sold out before Gen Con with everything we have in our warehouse.
Right.
What's now? And I say, well, I don't know. Maybe I should reprint. So, like, knowing the demand for the game. On one hand, you want to print as much as possible, so so you are not out of the stock. On the other hand, you cannot know that each game is a bestseller, yes?
Right.
Like for now, with Tide of Times, you know the game. I don't know, you played already?
Oh, yes,
So
good.
we expect the high sales, of course, because the game is great game, great production, great price, everything is fit. But yet I cannot print 50,000 copies because I cannot risk that, yes? So I print like a efficient number of games. And already after the Gen Con, we are at the first day of Gen Con, yes?
Right.
I know that my number was too low, yes? So I already know that we will be out of the stock in a week, yes? So I have to reprint it. So the story from the Imperial Settlers is once again is happening.
Right.
Why I'm surprised? Because once again, I wasn't well prepared for the demand. On one hand, each publisher believes so strong in the game.
Yeah.
On the other hand, he has to think, okay, this is a cost of production, this is what my budget is, I can afford to list that much money and print that much games, yes? So this is like a huge part of my daytime job. So, trying to figure out how many games I should produce, what the demand is, talking to the distributors, talking to salespeople, yes, getting feedback from them. Ignacy, we see a good buzz, print more. Ignacy, print less. Yes, this is like a huge part of the job. Yes, at this moment, the Portal Game is growing. I hired 3 people last year. Yes,
wow. Yeah.
So this is like we are growing. And I have one person dedicated only for sales, international sales. He's on the phone, on the Skype, on the email all the time. Distributors in England, distributors in States, distributors in France, talking what's the demand. And then my production division is getting like crazy because he just, okay, now we need like 10,000 Imperial Settlers. Whoa. For when? For now. Yes,
for now.
So this is like a, for you gamers, it's frustrating. Why this game is out of stock? Why these publishers are so jerks? No, we are not jerks.
Right.
We are just have to adapt to the demand, and we never know the demand if the game is not released yet.
So the moral of this story, since both of those are 2 of my favorite games, is if you want Imperial Settlers or Tides of Time, buy it immediately.
Do not hesitate. Well, since we're at Gen Con, tell us what you're excited about, what you brought.
Yeah, so we brought the Tides of Time, the title we just mentioned. We sold like 600 copies in 2 days.
Wow.
So this is like
it's impressive.
Yeah, this is totally blow mind. And yeah, then we know that we are screwed up right now. I mean, I know the numbers that we send to the distribution level, and getting feedback here at Gen Con, I know that the game is already sold out. So you guys will better find it right now.
That's right.
Because we now have to contact our manufacturer and send them. We need it right now, yes? Last year, if I can tell another story from the last year, from the Imperial Settlers, yes? The Imperial Settlers, after this feedback at Gen Con that Ignacy, this is like a huge, give us more, we took all the copies we had prepared for Essen release, and we sent them to America, risking they will miss a release for Essen, because there were copies prepared for Essen, and we say, okay, we need them now. So Essen, we cover it later, we send the copies to America, and then we very quickly print it for Essen. Yes, so this is like huge good problems.
It's always a good problem. Imperial Settlers love it. And you have an expansion here, right?
Atlanteans, yes, this is going like crazy. Like so many people are coming. I love Imperial Settlers. I want it. It's like whole weekend. Yes, so we have Rattle Battle, we have Atlanteans, and we have Tides of Time. And I already know that I'm screwed up with the Tides of Time. I have not enough in stock. With Rattle Battle, we hope that we are fine with that. Yes, and Atlanteans, I know that I will have a reprint like very soon.
Awesome. Well, great. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for having me.
You too, Jason.
Yes, it was a pleasure combining.
And folks, to you too. Thank you very much. And until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Hey, for today's Under the Radar segment, we are taking a look at Xanadu, or something like that. This game is a Colombian game, actually. It's a card game. And as it says here on the back in English and Spanish, the idea is Kublai Khan has decided to build his summer palace. You are an architect. Go make it happen. If you're the best one, you win. And the game is a card-driven game. It's not a simple game either. It's a pretty heady game in which these cards here are both the place, as it says up here, this is a meeting room, but it's also resources which you'll get by covering up these resources with other cards and momentarily producing that resource. I actually already did a review of this game. If you want to know, more about it, go check that out. But basically, I gave it something of a lukewarm review because I found the game to be too AP prone. The analysis paralysis is too much in the game. The game is fairly interesting. In fact, the game is being reprinted at some point soon-ish, we're not sure, by Quinnet Games. And so perhaps soon this won't be as hard to find anymore. It won't be as, indie anymore. But it's a neat game. I think it's an interesting concept, and the way cards are used in unique ways in this game that most games don't do makes it a worthwhile little system to explore. And so if you like that sort of thing, and if you like the idea of games that use a common idea and then sort of go about it in a different way and in a unique way, then you might like this one. Xanadu is an interesting little game. Again, it's not the best looking game ever. The cards actually are made of like a really weird, they have a strange finish, but the game itself is heady and has something there. It makes you go, this is something I can sink my teeth into. Now, again, for me, I wasn't quite as captivated, but that doesn't mean you won't like it. So I wanted to highlight it. A Colombian game, I haven't come across any others as far as I know. So I wanted to shine some light on it, and maybe it'll pique your interest and you want to check it out. Xanadu for Under the Radar. A neat little Colombian game. See ya!
All right, let's try this again. This time, no preamble, let's just get right to the game. Which is... Oh, here... All right, that was my fault that time. Sorry.
Hi there, it's Ilya from Würfel Reviews, and today's topic is all about games imported to US. But I have one problem with that theme. I do not live in US, I live in Estonia. So let's talk about Estonia. We have 3-4 shops here in Estonia, and if you'll combine them all together, you'll get a good choice of games. But on the other hand, there's a problem. New releases. It will take a few months before new releases will arrive in Estonia. So I think that's the main reason why me and many Estonians buy games from online European stores. On the other hand, what's good about local stores is that you can go there, grab the box, look at it, buy it and get it right away. In online shops, you have to pay the shipping cost. It varies from 10 to 20 euros. Then you have to wait for 1 or 2 weeks for it to arrive. So I think it's the big negative side of online shops, at least for me. But I found a solution regarding that high shipping cost. Each time I want to order something from online stores, I will announce it on Facebook, and then I will invite my friends so we can divide the shipping cost and make it as a bulk order and get new releases here in Estonia with lower shipping cost. Let me tell you a story about how all those bulk orders began. I ordered Mysterium from Portal Games in November last year. Then there was a winter camp, board game camp in Estonia in January. So we brought the copy there, we showed it to a few people, they showed to a few more. It was like a chain reaction. This game was a blast in our mini convention. And everyone came asking from me that where I can get this copy, and I was like, you can get it from Portal Games, but the shipping costs are really high, and everyone was sad about that. So after the board gaming camp, me and Alina, we thought like, wait, maybe we'll contact Portal Games and ask for a bulk order, 15 copies or so. They said yes, that they will help us, and we will get a good pricing. So we gathered all people who wanted to get the Mysterium copy, and we got them here in Estonia, and it's a good feeling. It's like we imported this game to Estonia. Otherwise, it would take a few months, I think, before somebody discovered this game, and it's a really great game. So, in the comments below, please tell me what is your situation in the country. Where do you get your games? Maybe you have a similar story to tell. I see you next time. Bye bye.
It's MAGGIBOT here for Board Game Blender, and today we're talking about imports. Imports are a super fun sub-hobby of my hobby. I like to find those little diamonds in the rough that, for one reason or another, have not made it into my country, the United States. And one of the biggest reasons I think there are two camps. I think there are the not easily marketed games like abstracts, and there are games that are made by publishers that are just so small they don't have the network or the capacity to fulfill distribution numbers in the thousands. So as far as abstracts go, you have Ortus Arena that I mentioned in my last blender. You've got things like Trench, which is available through the designer, but doesn't really have the shelf appeal that you would need in the States to sell an abstract. I mean, honestly, it looks a little like chess. So it's a little harder to sell for the price point you're gonna need because it's not from here. For $65, it's hard to sell an abstract. And then you have companies that try really hard to make enough of their games, but don't always make enough. And that is Splotter Games. They make Roads and Boats, Antiquities, Greed, Duck Dealer, all kinds of really fun games, and so it becomes kind of a sub-hobby for those of us in the States to try and find a copy of The Great Zimbabwe. The last one for that reason, Albion VR is just one man. He makes awesome games, amazing strategy games like Clinique and Town Center and Small City this year, and he only makes a certain amount of them, so he makes like 600 available for S and pickup, and then he sells the rest online. So Clinique and its 2 expansions were something like €120. That's expensive. But the one nice thing about import games is that they have incredible trade and resale value. Other people in the States would love to try them too, so they're willing to pay a little bit more than you'd pay for your average game. If you don't like it, it's very, very likely that you can get most of your money back. And you've paid for some, the entertainment experience of playing it. And then it comes to games where you just don't know why it isn't in the States. And now we come to my point, and that's Nuremberg. This may be getting a reprint next year from White Goblin Games, only in Europe. So Nuremberg is a 2 to 5 player economy game from Andreas Stedding, the designer of Hansa Teutonica and the Stoffer Dynasty, and for one reason or another it just didn't ever make it to the States. White Goblin just didn't have a partner here to get it here. I think all you would need to do to sell this in the States is put a picture of the cupcake meeples inside on the box. Cupcake meeples would totally sell here. But it's a fantastic game. I really, really hope that when they get a little closer to printing, they find someone who can bring this over. Even a website like Fun Again or Game Surplus, if they could just bring it to us for less than, $100, would be very, very nice. That's all for me for now. I'll see you guys next time.
Hey, we're filming.
Sorry, didn't see you there. I don't normally wear or dance like that every day.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, but anyway, today we're talking imports, and I got one here. It's called Sábado Gigante, published in 1990 by Milton Bradley. This is a variety show that is a mix of The Tonight Show, The Price is Right, Let's Make a Deal, Wheel of Fortune, all mixed into one. The show first debuted in 1962, and it comes on every Saturday for 4 hours. Let me set this up and show you how it works. So this is what the game board will look like set up. Every color card, you'll shuffle the cards and put 3 cards face down. This is the host of the game. His name is Don Francisco, or as I like to call him, the Hispanic Bob Barker. Every player will get a color pawn of other Don Franciscos. As you can see, he's wearing hats, just like Tom Vassell does. The object of the game is to try to get the most money so you can try to go for the car to win the game first. So what you're going to do is you're going to roll a 6-sided dice and move Don Francisco around the board, and then whatever number he lands on, you're just going to do whatever it says on the card. So in game number 1, Hidden Letters, it's basically like Wheel of Fortune. You're going to draw the card, and then you're going to guess whatever the phrase or person is. In game number 2, which is how many players, you're going to pull out the purple card, and it's going to ask you random questions, and then how many players got the right answer, you just put on this board right here using your little Don Francisco pawns. In the third game, Guess the Sound, you're just going to make a sound and the other players got to guess it. The fourth game, True or False, which is right here, you're going to ask a question, it's going to be true or false, and people are going to guess if you're telling the truth or if you're telling a lie. And in the fifth game, we're going to go buy something. You're going to flip over a card and it's going to list an item, and then you got to find out guess how much the item is, and whoever's closest is going to win that round. Now in these little mini games, whoever comes up with the right answer or whoever wins the mini game gets to draw a green money card. Now remember, at the end of the game, whoever has the most green money cards gets to go for the car first. After all the cards are gone from the tray, you go to the grand prize, which is trying to get this car right here. So the person with the most money is going to get to go first. So you're going to put all these pieces in the gray bag that it comes with, and the X's and the pink Sábado Gigantes. And you're going to shake, and you're just going to draw cards. Now if you get 3 X's, that means your turn is over and you have to pass it to the person with the next highest amount. So the object is to get the cards to fill up the spaces here. The first person that can do that ultimately wins the game. The only problem that I have with this game is that the people that I play with really have to be up to knowledge on their Latin pop culture. But other than that, it's a really fun game. Well, that's all the time I have for now. De sus lanzadas cien altas.
Hey folks, welcome back to another segment of Real Talk with Sam. Today's episode of The Blender is concerned primarily with imports. Those games that for us here in the United States originate outside of the United States, and then for those games that originate here in the United States, they will become imports for people who live in other countries, and so forth and so on. I really don't care where my game comes from. The only things that I'm really interested in as far as games are concerned is, first of all, do I enjoy it? Second of all, do my friends enjoy it? Is this going to get a lot of replayability within my household? Does my family enjoy it? Those are the kinds of questions I ask. Last, and definitely least, in my mind at least, is where did it come from? Now, if I can't get a hold of it because it's so difficult, or maybe it's more expensive because it comes from another country, I'll wait until I can get it somehow, some way, by a hook or by a crook, as it would say. But really, I don't care where it comes from. Now, I do have a question that popped up in my mind as I was thinking about this, and it has to do with this whole idea of things that are made in the USA and buying things only that are made in the USA. You know, when we talk about cars or you know, other kinds of products, appliances and that kind of thing, that's something that a lot of people take very seriously, only buying American, things that are American made. And you know what? When I lived in Korea, the same thing was true. It was important for some of the Koreans, at least, to buy things that were made in Korea, not to buy something that was made in Japan or made in China or something that was even made in America. Those were almost, not really, but almost taboo. So why doesn't that apply to board games? As a matter of fact, the exact opposite is almost true. If something is made outside of America, it is almost more desirable than something that is made in America. A lot of the product quality of games that are made in America are, or rather used to be, low, whereas something that was made in another country was, the production value was very high. Now, that's kind of going by the wayside now because we have a lot of American companies that are stepping up their game and producing good products. But what about this whole idea of, well, buy American cars, buy American products, buy American appliances, but oh, a new Japanese game, well, I must have it. Or the new hotness from Essen, I need it in my collection. Seems kind of hypocritical, really. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. Listen, folks, I'm just trying to keep it real. See you on the flip side. Hey folks, welcome back to another segment of That Was Stupid.
Hey folks, for today's face-off, I'm going to be comparing two trick-taking games. The first, Fünf Gurken, 5 Cucumbers, a game that you have to get pretty much from Germany. There might be a few places you can find it, but this one's hard to find, and it never came to the States, really. Fünf Gurken, and I'm comparing it to a company that's actually right here where we are, Florida, and that's R&R Games with Panda Head. So why am I comparing these two? They're both trick-taking games, yeah, but that's not enough, is it? No, it's not. These are both based, pretty obviously, on a classic trick-taking game that's played in Europe, mostly Scandinavia from what I've read. And so, as you'll see, the mechanisms in both are very, very similar. Which one's better? Let's find out. First up, artwork and production quality. Fünf Gurken, linen finish cards, Really cool little cucumbers. Comes in a nice box. Awesome. This, the exact opposite of everything I just said. It really is awful. It's awfully produced. And that panda head that shows up on basically every card is super creepy. So this one, heads and tails, no pun intended, goes to Fumfgurken, 5 cucumbers. Next, mechanisms. Both of these games work in almost the same way. You basically don't want to win the 7th trick in every hand. If you do, you're going to get some points in one game or you're going to get some cucumbers in the other one. Both are bad. They'll eventually eliminate you. In 5 cucumbers, a couple of innovations. The cards themselves have the cucumbers you're going to get if you win the 7th trick with that card, in this case 2. And the other main innovation is that the number ones, if they are played to the 7th trick, they will double the number of cucumbers that whoever gets cucumbers gets. However, this card, it's the lowest card, it's the 1, and the game, in both of these games, the idea is if you cannot win a trick with a play, you have to play your lowest card. As in, the ones almost never make it to the 7th trick of a hand, rendering that mechanic sort of moot. The cucumbers part is interesting, but the ones don't really make a whole lot of sense. The other game has this. It has this card that has a +2, and you can play it together with a different card to add +2 to that card. So I could actually play both of these together, making that a 13. You will then draw a blind card to bring your hand size up to the same as everybody else. That's interesting. And that does make a big difference, and I really enjoy that mechanism. So, in mechanisms alone, I have to give it to Panda Head because what it's bringing to the table off of the original trick-taking game is more interesting. Moving on. Strategy and tactics. Both of these games really are very, very simple to play, and some people would say they basically play themselves. They're supposed to be family games that you can just sit around and chat and throw some cards out. I will say, for strategy and tactics here, that Panda Head gives you a couple more things to think about. When you use those +2s, when you get a new blind card, if you wait too long to play them, that means you might be stuck with a really high card late in the hand, which could spell doom for you. And so, I think that game gives you a few more options, a few more things to think about, but this one's close. Both games really are very, very simple. So strategy and tactics, Panda Head, but not by much. So fun factor overall. Well, both of these games have things that the other one doesn't have. 5 cucumbers is very cute. It's a great package. The cards are great quality. It's something that I can bring out, put on the table, and people will go, huh, that's cute. Looks like a pickle jar. What is that game? Let's try it. Panda Head might make the little ones run for the hills. I really don't like the look of it, but ultimately, they're almost the same game. This one looks better, but plays a little bit worse. This one looks really bad, but plays a little bit better. So, which one do I pick? Well, even though the looks of games really do matter for me, I'm going to have to give it to Panda Head for this one. It's simply a slightly better game, and a better game is going to get played more often than one that's not as good. Now, I'll still hang on to this. I do like the theme, I do like the style of game, but Panda Head ultimately beats this one out. That's our show, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks to all my contributors, as always. And hey, don't forget to enter that contest, all right? Email me if you haven't done so. zeedicetower@gmail.com. Join us again in 2 weeks where we're going to be talking about cash, moolah, that money flow. I'm calling it It's the Economy. And we can talk about any old game that has to do with cash, with money, with economic systems, all that stuff, all right? So come on back for that, 2 weeks. And as always, thanks again, guys. And hey, stay a friend of the blend. I'll see you.